Is that the best that you can do? Living on wasted time. You don't got much time to lose. Living on, living on, living on and on and on and on and on. Do you really believe you are on the safe side? Living on wasted time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Living the Dream with Travis Barton. I, of course, am your host, Travis Barton. Sitting with me right here is the one, the only, the beautiful, the amazing Erica Carrico. How are you doing today on this very beautiful day?
I'm so good. I'm so good. And I'm so happy to be here and so grateful. So thank you for this opportunity to chat.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on here for the last, I think, couple months. So it's finally happening. Privileged to be talking to you today. I'm really excited, like I was telling you before the show, just to kind of pick your brain a bit. I'm sure this is going to spark some really insightful topics and conversations. So I'm really pumped to get going. So just let's start out. Just let us know what inspired you. Because I know this really is what your soul has been kind of speaking you to do for a long time. What inspired you to really become this type of coach and to really help people discover purpose and to shift their mindset about purpose and living a life of passion?
Yeah. So, for me, I actually really feel like this is my calling. This is my purpose. And this is what I'm here to do. And, I really struggled for years, probably about 15, I'd say, to just figure out what the hell I'm here for. I was in and out of jobs. I was in and out of careers. I was in and out of relationships. I had a terrible habit with food. I just struggled with anxiety, with depression, and I was really lost. And, looking back, I realized all of these things that I was doing, I was trying to fill that void in my life. I was trying to just fill myself up and fill myself up and fill myself up. And I was using all the wrong things and looking in all the wrong places. And it wasn't until, I sort of had this huge breakdown, as I think a lot of people really do. I hit this huge rock bottom, in my career and in my life. And I was just like, I can't keep going like this. So I saw a life coach, and this was probably about 10 years ago. And through that process, I really did a lot of reflection on my own life. And I looked back and I majored in psychology. I chose a career in recruitment so I could help people figure out jobs that they wanted to do. I mean, it was all very well lined up for me. I just couldn't quite grasp and put my finger on it. So I really burnt out in my career. Saw a life coach myself, quit my job, went traveling, spent a year traveling the world.
Did your life coach inspire you to quit your job and travel the world?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was living in Australia at the time. And through that process, I know.
Okay, great.
Yeah, through that process, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm living my life, and not in the way that I want to be living my life. I'm not in the right career, and I don't know what I want to do, but I know it's not this. So I literally left. I left Australia with just a backpack. I got rid of everything, quit my job, my corporate career, and I just went and backpacked for about a year. And on that trip, I found out, I knew that I was here to help people in the world. I knew that I was here to really make a difference in the world, and that working for corporate America was never going to do it for me. Earning $1 million for a company that already had millions was just sucking my life away, And when I was working with that coach, I started having inklings of, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I am supposed to be coaching. I am supposed to be speaking. I am supposed to be helping people on this really soul level. But I didn't feel like my soul was evolved enough to be able to do that one-on-one work. So I ended up kind of taking a little bit of a cheating route, and I sold out a little bit. I took a more traditional way and went and got my master's degree in nonprofit management. And so I was a director of several different not-for-profits for about 7 years. And I felt like I was really living my purpose in that I was helping people, but I didn't take into consideration a couple of things, right? So I didn't take into consideration that I would never be able to live the lifestyle that I wanted to live as far as money goes. I wouldn't be able to be time free. I was always going to be punching a clock, working on somebody else's schedule. And so I figured out a way to really combine my purpose with a business that I love that also allows me to earn a beautiful living, live life on my own terms, support myself financially, and also fulfill my purpose at the same time. And just through doing that was so incredibly profound that I don't think anybody should ever settle for anything less than that. And that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing.
It's really interesting because we subscribe to these paradigms and we limit ourselves based on what others think we should do or what the expectation is that we should do. And as a result, I find so many people going through life and they're just like, something's missing. It's because you haven't taken the time to really discover who you are. and cultivate that courage to really step into that. And once you do, it's never as scary as your mind makes it out to be in the first place. And I see so many people going through life, just sadness to me, living just below the surface, just kind of treading water throughout life and not really being fulfilled. And to take that leap initially, I think is one of the most liberating things you can do. When you liberate yourself from others' expectations or social pressures of what people think you should be, you really do liberate yourself to become who you're meant to be. You get rid of those burdens and everything. And it's the most liberating feeling ever. Let's talk a bit about when you made that shift, what it felt like for you stepping into this, because you're full-time, you're doing this, and you're doing well at it. Let's talk a bit about how that feels for you, just so we can maybe inspire or spark something and maybe other people that want to do the same thing. What was your process like, and how does it feel?
I mean, now it's amazing. There is no better feeling. Of course, there's a lot, we just talked about this too right before we jumped on, but there's a lot of fear. There is a lot of courage. You have to dig deep. It takes a bold decision to really step up and figure out what you're here for and figure out who you are. We have to let go of a lot of old habits and beliefs and ways that we've been living. And I think we have to be okay with a lot of who we were, these masks that we wore falling away, and really getting open and honest with who we are as a person and who we're here to serve. And I think, something that really shifted in me when I did make the leap and go full time in my business was, if I don't do this, and if we aren't as human beings and as souls here on earth fulfilling our purpose, not only are we doing ourselves a huge disservice, and we can talk about that later if you want, but we're doing others who we're meant to help a disservice as well, because we're not putting ourselves out there to help them, and that goes for everybody. That's not just coaches, that's everybody. We all have a purpose. We're all here to be doing something, using our own unique gifts and our talents. And,
right.
And if we're not putting ourselves out there in 100% authentic way as to who we are, those people or animals or whoever, whatever it is we're meant to help isn't on the receiving end of that. And I just think it's a huge ripple effect,
Yeah, and I want to impress upon everybody that everybody has a purpose within them. For some people, that voice inside your heart speaks loud and clear. Like myself, maybe. It was always loud and clear. But for other people, it's a little more subtle. But if every single person on this planet has brilliant ideas, has a purpose, has a light inside them that's ready to just burst. Every single person. And it's a matter of just tapping into that. And you say the word, I think, authenticity, or being authentic to who you are. That's the first and most powerful step. It's just connecting with who you really are. And when you do that, purpose, that voice, it begins to speak even more loudly and even more clearly. Knowing that voice, taking the time to understand what that voice is calling you to, that's one thing. Most people don't even know what that is. Right? And that's how we go through life, and we wake up in the middle of the night and we go, where the hell did my life go? Right? Because we don't know what that voice is. And what we do is we adopt other people's values, or the business that we work for's values, the religion that we subscribe to, their values, without subscribing to our own, without understanding what our own values are. But stepping into that voice, that's where heroes, that's where leaders, and that's where champions are revealed. And that's where purpose, and that's where fulfillment really is revealed. Why is it important, in your opinion, to understand that purpose? And maybe there's a tool that you can help us with to really tap into who we are and what we're meant to be doing. Can you walk us through that? I know briefly. I know that's a whole can of worms, but maybe we can just...
Yeah, I know. I know. It's like, oh my God, where do I start? Yeah, it's really important that we figure out our life purpose. And I personally think that and this is something that I fully back and I fully believe, I don't think that we can ever be 100% happy or feel fulfilled or content if we're not fulfilling our purpose. I just think it comes up in so many different ways. I see it with my clients day in and day out. I saw it with myself. It's like we're depressed. We feel like something's missing. We're very successful in our careers. We're earning a lot of money. We have the kids. We have the job. We have the life. We have the house, but we're still unfulfilled. And I think that piece will always be missing until we really figure out what it is we're here to do, till we have that mission, that North Star that we're really guided by. And that guides not just our career, but all aspects of our lives, how we spend our free time, who we choose as partners, how we parent our kids, what we do in our free time. I mean, our purpose isn't just one thing. It's not a career. It is so much bigger than that, and I think people get really stuck. Yeah, they
Purpose
do.
is your embodiment. It's how you're showing up, right? The career is oftentimes a result of that, I think.
Yeah. So I teach workshops on this. And I guess the way that I like to explain it to people is there's two things, right? There's two pieces of our purpose. So one is the essence. And that's just like what you said. That's the core of who we are. That's how we show up in the world. That's patterns and themes throughout our lives. Like, are we super compassionate? Are we empathetic? Do we have a really big love for animals? Or are we more someone who takes care of the earth, And then the way that we express it. And I think people get so hung up thinking I have to find my one purpose and it's a career. And it's like, that's just not the truth. We can express our purpose through a career. Absolutely. Right. And we can be paid well for it. And I think that that's what people should be doing, but we can also express our purpose in so many different ways, through relationships, like I said, through volunteering, through how we spend our free time, through as a parent. I mean, yeah. So just like you said, it's like how you show up in the world. It's who you are and how you embody your being.
What is one piece of advice that you could offer to somebody that feels lost and doesn't really understand what their purpose might be? What is like the most powerful thing that you can offer somebody?
I think the most powerful thing that I can say is stop looking outside of yourself.
Boom!
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop looking outside and turn inwards. I don't know if I can swear on here or not.
Yeah, you can fucking swear.
Yeah, okay. But face the fucking demons within. Like, stop drowning them out. Stop, using alcohol as a cover. Stop stuffing your face with ice cream. Stop smoking the weed. Like, and I did all this. I'm not saying, this is stuff that I've had to overcome and stop doing. But when we drown out these uncomfortable feelings by even just Netflix or like shopping on Amazon, I see all these houses in my neighborhood with like Amazon boxes piled up to here. Yeah. It's like, what are you trying to replace? Stop turning externally and start focusing within. What do you need to heal? What do you need to release? What is coming up for you? Once we clear out this garbage and these negative thoughts and these superficial ways that we're trying to make ourselves feel better, we give space for our mind to actually hear the whispers of our soul, to hear the whispers of our heart, to have these creative ideas, to feel the inspiration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful. I was just speaking to a bunch of high schoolers a couple of weeks ago. There's 750 high schoolers, and we're talking about purpose. And I asked you this question: what's the most powerful thing you can offer to somebody looking for purpose? And this is exactly almost what I said. I said, stop looking outside of yourself. Purpose was never outside of yourself. It never was, it never is, it's never going to be. It's always been inside you your entire life. Yeah. Always. Looking for purpose. I think I've said this before on my podcast, but looking for purpose outside yourself is like spending all freaking day looking for your sunglasses around your house. And you're looking for your sunglasses everywhere. You're looking in your bedroom, you can't find them. You're frustrated, you're getting pissed off. You go, where are my effing sunglasses? Yeah. And right? You walk out the door and you realize they were on top of your head the entire time.
Totally.
Like purpose. It's like the easy analogy of, when you hear Buddhist monks having an awakening moment or becoming enlightened, they never say it was something that happens like a new insight. They would go, it's more of like oh, no shit. Oh, okay. That's what it is, right? That's kind of like what purpose is too, right? It's just about tapping into your own inner wisdom, right? Yes. It's not about adjusting to something you're not. It's about tapping into who you are and boldly expressing that. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Everybody, if you're listening, write this down. It's not about adjusting to something that you're not. It's about tapping into something that you already are and boldly expressing that to the world. That's it. Boom. Don't overwhelm yourself. And yes, get rid of the distractions around you, the excessive alcohol, the excessive, drugs and all these things that are just distracting you from who you really are. Because all it is just, your phone too. You talk about phones all day. It's a huge distraction. Contemplative stillness, in my opinion, is the best way to really tap into that inner wisdom. Whether that's meditation, whether that's prayer, whether that's walking outdoors, whether that's going on a hike without music or whatever that is. Through contemplative stillness, we're best able to listen to the sound of our own heart. And when you can do that, you're well on your way, baby.
We're tapping into these like collective thoughts here. Because everything that you're saying is it's just everything that I say and I repeat as well. It's like, yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a certain, it's like an ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
We're just kind of bringing it, using our own words and expressing it in our own way. But this is like ancient wisdom. I think that's what gets us in trouble in the first place, though, is when we try to find purpose outside of ourselves, we tend to adapt to something that we aren't or that we don't really want to be, but we kind of adapt to that. And then 10 years go down the road and we go like, I haven't been fulfilled doing this. Beautiful. So what do you think is the biggest hurdle that most people would face in really uncovering what their own purpose is? How would you say that you or would recommend somebody else could get through that?
Yeah. So, aside from the whole, I think the first thing is just like everything that we just talked about, right? So like really stop looking without and figure out how you can turn within. Sitting in silence, sitting in stillness, meditation. Like you said, either for me, it's meditation and it's hiking, it's snowboarding, it's doing things that just inspire me. But after that, I think the second thing that really stops most people is just not knowing what questions to ask themselves, right? Like What does a purpose feel like? What does it look like? And so I know you and I've had this conversation before as well, but it's really a combination of a couple of things, right? So what do you really love to do? What lights you up? What fuels you? What gets your blood going? What can you do all day, every day, and just never feel like any time has passed? What do you just love to do? And the second thing is, what are you really good at? What are you naturally really good at? And I think a lot of people get really stuck here because we're taught at such a young age to fit in, to not shine, especially as women. I think, I don't know if it's the same for men, but we don't want to be the person who stands out. We want to be the person who fits in. We don't want to be making any waves. So we tend to drown out. And I notice this with my clients all the time. They have a really hard time listing what they're good at, because they've had to humble themselves down for so long. So yeah, really figuring out, what do you love to do? What are you good at? And how can you combine those two things to create value and to impact people? And I think that that's really, without overcomplicating things, I think that's the core of what it is.
Well, let's simplify it, because I'm a man of simplicity myself. No reason to overcomplicate things. No reason to get overworked and have information overwhelm. And how do I discover purpose? Let's really make what you said very simple. What does the world need that your passions and your talents can give? Done. Figure out that, right? And I'd add to that. If you don't know what your passions are, a lot of people don't. They spend too much time doing things that crush their souls. They spend too much time playing on their phones or drinking or whatever else, right? Having distractions. If you don't know what your passions are, don't worry about what you're passionate about. Discover what you're interested in or what you could be interested in. Make a list. What am I interested in? What could I be interested in? Because purpose, the clues for purpose are hidden in your interests. And interests,
always.
If you're not engaged in interests, of course you don't have passions. Right? So engage yourself in your interests, no matter what that is. If that's a book club, if that's writing poetry, if that's joining a soccer league, I don't know, something, right? Be engaged. And perhaps that interest will lead you to another interest, perhaps even another interest, and then perhaps that interest will become a passion. So I say, basically what you were saying is, what does the world need that your passion and your talents can give? So we found at least the pathway to passion.
Right. Yeah. And just to tap in on that a little bit further is, if you really can't remember what you love to do, and a lot of us can't because we forget and we stop doing things, especially after high school, we go to college and life gets really real and we get a job and then we have a family and it's like, I don't even know who I am because I don't have any free time. But go back to remember, what did you love to do when you were little? Did you love to be outside running around in the dirt? Did you like to ride roller coasters? What did you like to do as a kid? And I think you'll find, and I see this too a lot of those interests and those passions are still there. You just forgot about them.
Yeah, and I think there's clues to that too. Like before, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut and then the president of the United States, right? But I had a serious passion for both. But it wasn't that I necessarily wanted to be an astronaut. I just wanted a life of adventure. That was the value in which I wanted to surf through that. And I realized that. And then I didn't necessarily want to be the president. I really didn't. I wanted to just be a leader. I wanted to lead people. What was that interest or that passion as a kid? What was that telling me about who I am? Right? Maybe I'm a born leader. Maybe I'm a born adventurer. What is that? What is that little clue hidden in that, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you don't feel like you're good at something, or if you're not talented, here's the thing, guys. Everything's learnable. You can learn anything you want, especially in this day and age. So if you have a passion about something and maybe you don't feel quite good at it, you can learn how to be extraordinary at it at the tips of your fingers. Right? We live in the information age. There's no better time to be alive to learn how to do literally anything. I love that. Very simple. I think that's a great takeaway for today. What does the world need that your passions and your talents can give it? Focus on that. I'd encourage you to let Erica know when you come up with that insight. Erica, what inspires you the most in life?
That's a really good question. What inspires me the most in life? I think I spent so long trying to tune out my inner voice and trying to just fit in and be normal. I always felt like I was a bit of a black sheep. I think what inspires me the most now is just honestly like closing my eyes or spending time in nature and just hearing my thoughts and like listening to them. They used to be so negative, but I've done a lot of work to really turn them around, and they just take me places now, places where I only would have dreamed of years ago. And I think honestly, I'm just inspired by my own thoughts in some really weird, bizarre way.
Oh yeah, it's weird at all. Yeah, that's a really great place to be. Tell me something, and this is kind of a challenging question, I think, but tell me something that you believe is true that you feel like almost nobody gets or almost nobody agrees with you on.
Yeah, so this is a little bit out there, probably.
I like it.
I know it's a little bit out. I have this theory. It's kind of been this inner knowing, I think, for a while. And the more that I do this work and the more people that I work with and the more people that I meet and engage with in this space, I just see it to be true. I genuinely believe that if we aren't expressing our purpose, at some point the call becomes so strong that it starts to manifest in our bodies as like physical disease.
Stress or
No, like I think it even goes further, like adrenal fatigue, stress in your body. But I think when we're holding this love and this light within us and it's supposed to be, getting out there into the world and we're supposed to be serving in a way that we're not, I truly think, our bodies can just become toxic. I think a lot of it too is because of how we're shutting ourselves down, by the overeating or the over drinking or the doing drugs, not exercising, not taking care of ourselves. And I think that plays a big factor in it, because when we are living our purpose, a lot of times we are taking really good care of ourselves, because it's like we're being driven by something else, not these sort of superficial things that we're trying to, get rid of our emotions. So, but I mean, for me even, and I feel like this was a really big spiritual call, but I was diagnosed at 36 with cancer. And I really feel like that was a spiritual thing for me. The way that I found it was all by intuition. And I just think that it was like, you are not living your life in the way that you're supposed to be living. And the kidneys are all about harboring things within, which is just really bizarre. And that's exactly where I had my cancer, was right on my kidney. And
wow.
Yeah. So I really do believe that when we don't fulfill our purpose, and I have clients who come to me and they're having these insane physical burnouts and adrenal fatigues, and other clients actually who have been diagnosed with cancer as well. And I think that when we're not living our purpose, our bodies aren't 100% healthy either, because they know that they're holding all this stuff within that just needs to be getting out.
What an answer. That's the kind of answer I'm looking for with that question. I love it. I love it. What if there was one key to happiness? What would that be?
Stay in your own lane. Like who are you and who do you want to be? And don't look at anybody else and figure out whatever else is making everyone else happy. Don't do that. Stay in your own lane. Figure out who the hell you are and go and fucking do that to like 100%, 110% of like everything. Just go out and be that.
That sounds kind of like almost it could lead into the answer to my next question, which is, what do you believe is the key to success?
Same answer.
It sounds like, would that be the same?
You and I have actually had this conversation as well, right? So like, I think the pivotal point, I think success, there are a lot of different definitions that success can be defined in a million different ways. And there are a lot of different components and pieces of success. But I think that success is measured by feelings of happiness and feelings of contentment, and not necessarily material things that we bring into the world, right? But in saying that also, in your coaching business and in mine, as soon as we were like, fuck it, I'm just going to be me and I'm going to do things in the way that I know and that I love to do and be who I am and show up in the world who I am and literally give no fucks. That's when things really took off for us. For me, it was like, I became like, I'm healthier right now at 38 than I ever was. I look better now at 38 than I did when I was 25. Like, my health improved, my financial abundance improved, my relationships improved, my marriage improved, which was falling apart. Everything improves when you just focus on being you.
Stepping into that authenticity, that's a huge foundation of purpose. But you're saying that it's also the foundation of success as well, right?
I don't think that we can be successful. I actually give a speech on that, and it's titled Success Begins with Purpose.
Yeah, beautiful. When you do tap into that authenticity and when you do express that fully and courageously as who you are without caring what other people think of you, what you're going to learn is that the world really wanted nothing more than who you are in the first place. And you're going to be rewarded. It's like the universe is saying your whole life, come out and play. Just be who you are. Come out and play. Come out and play. And we have this idea about the universe, like this big scary thing. And if we're go out and express ourselves, we're going to get humiliated and whatever else, right? And once you do come out and play, you go, oh, this wasn't so bad. And the universe kind of goes, see, I told you, come on, this is fun, right? That's kind of what it's like, right?
It's so true. Totally. You got it. Like nailed it on the head.
If you can have dinner with one person, living or dead, fiction or non-fictional, who would it be?
Wow. You should have given me these ahead of time so that
I like put you on the spot of it.
I'd have to say Gandhi. I just would have to say Gandhi. And I don't know why that comes to mind, but it's like, I've just learned so much from him and his readings and his teachings. And, I went to the place where he's buried and I felt such a strong connection at that time. And I think he's always sort of been this guiding force in my life. And he's helped me heal through a lot of things,
Wow.
you know, through his teachings and how he lived his life. So I'd have to say Gandhi, yeah.
What would you ask him?
What would I ask him? Wow. How did you know? How did you know everything that you know? And how did you know that it was true?
Oh, okay. Well, I got to follow up for that.
Okay.
What do you think he would say to you? How do you think he would answer that?
It comes to him in his thoughts. It's an inner knowing. It's our intuition. You know, he was so tapped in and tuned in to messages that are sort of channeled through him. And I think when we do tap into our purpose, we start to have that inner knowing, and our intuition becomes really strong. And I think for me and for a lot of people, for a long time, it's hard to really differentiate what are just thoughts versus what is that inner knowing and that intuition. And I think, yeah, I think that he'd say it's that inner knowing. And I guess it's hard to explain, isn't it? You know, until you have it.
Well, that kind of illustrates our whole thing for today, isn't it? Tapping into that inner knowing
Yeah.
that you already have, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I love asking that question. Who would you have dinner with? What would you ask them? And people go, I always want to know this thing. I want to know this. I'd ask them this. What do you think the key to happiness is? And I always say, what do you think they would say? Because I believe you already have the answers to that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you sit down with Gandhi. So yeah, it's your own inner knowing, right? It's exactly why I'm asking those questions.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be etched on your tombstone?
A lot of things. How do you ever even sum that up? I mean, somebody who took life by the horns and lived, you know?
I think that's the purpose of life. It's to live.
Yeah.
It's to be alive, right?
Yeah.
That's a great one. I like that. So what's next for you? What do you got going on? What are you doing now? What's coming up? Lay it on us.
Yeah. I have lots of things coming up. Actually, I've got a speaking event coming up in Vancouver. I'm doing some workshops sort of in different states across Colorado and the Midwest. And I am launching a group program called Awaken Your Purpose. And that's coming out in February. So I'm going to be taking this group of sort of like-minded people who are feeling lost and together walk them through the process of getting really clear on what their life purpose is. Yeah, it's going to be really fun and exciting, I think.
Yeah, beautiful. Fantastic. I think if there's any indication of what that program might be from today's call, I think it's certainly revving up to be pretty powerful and pretty amazing. So I can imagine it really changing some people's lives. Amazing. So where can our audience find you? Social media, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff, website?
Yeah, Instagram. My website is ericacarrico.com, and I actually do have a free guide, a free download. It's 7 steps to finding your purpose. So they can just click over to my website and grab that there. It's just right on the homepage. Beautiful.
I encourage every single person to do that. And you're on Instagram. You got an amazing Instagram.
Thank you.
I'm loving your stuff on there. Your content has just truly been great. So thanks so much for showing up on here. I think that we've certainly created powerful insight. I can imagine a lot of people really would need some of these today. And I encourage everybody out there, taking one simple insight from today's conversation and apply it to your life, whether that's making contemplative stillness, meditation a part of your life, whether that's letting go of distractions so you can better tap into your own heartbeat and be more bold in your journey to purpose, whatever that may be. Let Erica or I know what your big insight is from today's conversation, how you're going to apply it in your life moving forward. Erica, thank you so much. What an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for being here. We'll talk soon. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been amazing. As always, so much love for you.
Beautiful. Much love. Talk soon.
Hey guys, it's me, Travis Barton. If you want to learn more about living the dream with Travis Barton, visit us at speakingtotheheart.org and at iTunes.
Do you really believe you are on the